All right, that's our cue to go on air here as we're just getting to 11 o'clock here on CKCU. I'm Chris White and so happy to be here. The studio is full of people. Everybody's here because guess what? In 1 hour, it's going to mark the 50th anniversary of CKCU being on air. That's so exciting. Regina Sosing, you're here. You've been around for a while, and you were here a year ago when we did this celebration. But this year is different because last year was 49. This year is 50. Regina, what do you want to say before we get started here?
Well, one thing that I want to say is that with CKCU people, regardless of how we feel, the weather outside, we show up on our live radio shows, and that is why we are here. And of course, it's 50th. It doesn't come by every year, so we gotta show up on the 50th. So hopefully all of you out there are listening to us. Give us a call if you can and join us if you're around the building,
or comment on the playlist, as we call it. The playlist is available and you can register your comments. This is a miraculous achievement by a whole bunch of people. Julie Cormier, you're going to come in because you're doing some of the hosting. Do you mind just approaching a microphone here?
Absolutely.
And I know that you are a CKCU host currently, as you are, Regina, as well.
Yeah.
Julie, what are your thoughts on this momentous occasion?
Oh, this is just so exciting. I told some of the volunteers that are here to celebrate and to highlight this special occasion that I feel like I'm a baby volunteer. I just 11 years.
Only 11 years.
Only 11 years.
Yeah.
So I have a long way to go, but this is so exciting, and I love volunteering for CKCU. It's such a fun time, as you know.
Thanks for being here. You're also a musician. We're hoping to hear some music from you at some point.
I have
in
a
the show.
surprise later if there's time.
Good.
Yeah.
So we have 2 hours here. We're going to go till 1 a.m. and at midnight we're going to do something very special, which is the tradition around here. We're going to play the first song ever played on CKCU. So stay tuned for that and stay tuned for everything. And thank you for people that are commenting on the playlist. Go to CKCUFM.com. We are broadcasting from the unceded, unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Nation. And for that reason, I asked Algonquin spiritual advisor and former Ottawa Poet Laureate Albert Dumont to record some thoughts for us. So I'm going to play those now and we'll get back to our long list of guests here. It's so much fun. But here's Albert Dumont. I said, here is Albert Dumont. Here we go. I think we can do this.
In my family, we never had a TV in our house till I think it was 1958 or even 1959. We saw neighbors that had a TV in, I think, as early as 1955. This is in Kitty-Gonzibe, but we moved away to Pontiac County in 1956, but my parents still didn't get a TV for a couple of years. But the radio was always there, and I remember listening to the radio. I remember my dad sitting on a chair in the front of the radio with his ear bent towards the radio, listening to Hockey Night in Canada. I remember being a boy and listening to plays that were being broadcast on the radio and how it impacted me as a boy. I'm a writer of poetry today and a writer of short stories. I'm sure that experience with radio had an effect on me, a good one. Whenever I think about what connected Canada, we hear all the time that it was the railroad, what the Indigenous people called the Iron Horse. That was a machine that belched black smoke and whistled along, and it was a machine. For me, it was the radio that connected Canada. Whenever a voice from the east could be heard in the west, and a voice in the west could be heard in the east, and you got to know what fellow Canadians were all about through the voices that went from coast to coast to coast. It's a powerful thing, to think about messages, songs on radio, so that Canadians know what kind of music, folk music or traditional songs or whatever, that are impacting the people in the East. And then the same thing, it's always interesting. And that's what the radio was doing. And I want to say this about CKCU. I see CKCU as a true ally of the Anishinaabe Algonquin. And not just an ally, but a friend, and not just a friend, but a good friend of the Anishinaabe Algonquin. And that's because I know the broadcasters. It's one thing to hear a voice on the radio that you connect with, and you look forward to hearing the next show that person is going to be on. That's one thing, but whenever you could say, hey, that's a good friend of mine that I'm listening to, it makes it all the greater. I love the people that work for CKCU. They've been to my house in Kittygonzeeby, and we've eaten together, and we've sat together in lawn chairs in the park. We have the same interest. We're community activists in our own right. We want the best of the best for human beings in the territory. There was such great changes happening in Canada in 1975 because the big drum and powwows that just returned, I think, if I'm not mistaken, only around 1970. Indigenous spirituality was outlawed until 1954, I think. The Red Power movement in Canada. In the United States, it became the American Indian movement. And the American Indian movement revived the big drum and powwow songs, and people were able to go to powwows. We started to take hold of our spirituality, the circle, and being involved in communicating to spirit through the dancing and chanting. It was a big revival of our spirituality and powwow songs, and it really reached a lot of people who just wanted their spirituality back again. I loved the songs, I loved the heartbeat of the drum and these kind of things. I really got back into the spirituality of my ancestors. All this stuff was happening in the 70s. So it was good to have a radio station like CKCU. We didn't see it as a threat. And as a matter of fact, CKCU was always an ally for the underdog and for people's rights. And I'm grateful that there's such radio stations in this country. They're necessary. Otherwise, the fear for me anyways is that 25 years from now, if everybody, regardless of the color of their skin or their culture, we're all thinking the same, that's not going to be good. We have to have our own minds and our own ability to make a point in our own way. That's what makes a country great, and not like a bunch of robots. So I really respect CKCU and miigwech for that. Live long and prosper.
There we go. Some wise words there from Algonquin spiritual elder and advisor Albert Dumont. Right here on CKCU. This is an exciting time indeed. Regina, you have some guests over there in Studio B.
We do indeed, Chris, and it's not only that it's exciting, it's historical. It is a milestone for all of us, and I am absolutely thrilled to be able to talk to some of our pioneers at CKCU. I'd been here for only 25 years, so very young in comparison. So let's go to our guest, who we are really grateful that they are here to join us tonight. First, he has been with us even before CKCU started. Let's welcome to CKCU, David Mowbray.
Yay!
Very happy to be here.
Do we have our mic good for David? We do.
You want to check? I'm still here. Well, I can use this microphone too.
Yes, we could.
Yeah.
And also,
I'm with the old farts here.
Also, we have Roland Kushner. Hi, Roland.
Hi, good to be here. Thanks very much to everybody for organizing the anniversary. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And we have Jim Hurcomb, who had been here since 1973.
I have a little room down the hall there and just bunk in there and come do shows. 1973 to 1980, so just before we went FM, and then just when we were doing really well. So
David, tell us, how did you started with CKCU, or how did CKCU begun?
Well, which microphone am I going to use? I'm going to use this microphone. Thank you. I was just sitting here. The first time I saw what we're calling Studio B, I saw it on a blueprint of a plan for a building that had not yet been built. We designed the radio station back in the 1960s and had always wanted to have it here, but this center didn't even exist. So to sit here in a studio that we thought about that long time ago is really, really something. I was part of a group of students who produced a weekly radio program for a local radio station. It was current affairs about the university, but we made it about a lot more than that. And we just got pumped about the idea of communicating and always talked about, let's have a radio station, without knowing how to do it. It was people who came after that who made it happen. But when this building was built and we first put the equipment in here back in 1970, 71, I was here, and of course we went on the air FM in 75, and it's been a wonderful time. And to sit here, you have to realize this radio station has been on the air, or will have been on the air in about an hour from now, for 50 years. That's half of the history of broadcasting in this country. There are very few radio stations in this country that can say they've been on the air as long as CKCU and survived, and that's just an amazing thing.
We should celebrate that with a special day, like 50th anniversary party. What do you think?
Every 50 years.
Every 50 years. Well, actually, Dave was instrumental in the whole early planning and coming to fruition of not only the station but the license and the whole thing. There was a core group of people who just gave up so much of their lives, quite often their degrees and courses they were taking at Carleton University. We all nod for that one, but Dave said something about kids not knowing what they're doing. Well, we were kids and we didn't know what we were doing as far as the on-air side goes. Thankfully, there were people who knew how to run the equipment. But we were just music fans who got on, played whatever we wanted to play.
And liked to talk.
Not too much. And Roland, for example, and then it was so eclectic. Roland, the bluegrass king of Ottawa.
Well, bluegrass and folk, those were the kinds of tunes I liked to play. And the station, so I was very young when I was here. I was on the air on the closed circuit, the carrier current. Not too many people will remember that, but before CKCU was on the air on FM, we were on the air on the Carleton University campus, and you could plug your AM radio in and you could pick us up on 670 AM, and that was the standard. And we moved from that to the FM signal, and not only is it 50 years, I believe that at the time we received our license, this was the first campus community station in Canada to receive an FM license, and so we were pioneers in that way, having the partnership between the university and the community. People who were on the air were not just university students or faculty, they were just people who lived in Ottawa and were interested. I was a Carleton student, but plenty of other people were not at the time. So that's a magic part of it. And I got to say, it's a thrill to be here tonight and to see the same kind of energy that I remember being in the building and in the studios and on the air and in the whole big CKCU family. So.
Yeah, we've seen some lulls over the years when we come to special anniversaries, and you get a good sense pretty quickly, as Roland was saying, about the energy level. And when the energy level is up, there's not a better feeling in the world, because we as the old-timers are so happy that there are people to carry on this incredible project. And at other times, the money might be running short, and you go through the valleys. And thankfully, they're pretty short, but it's just been such an incredible roller coaster trip all the way up. And just from coming up here tonight and meeting some of the people who work here now, I'm going, oh, this is great. It's in great shape.
And if I just make a little point, before I know you want to talk, and we're
that's
taking all
okay.
the time
We love hearing from you. Continue.
But it's so interesting, the comment about energy and the feeling that you get here. Because one of the things, I wasn't a music programmer. I co-hosted Special Blend, did the current affairs part of Special Blend for quite a while, and did every 2 weeks a 30-minute radio program about science that predates the CBC's Quirks and Quarks, which I ended up hosting years later, but that was another story. But anyway, the thing is, I was remembering one night I had this idea. We were doing a whole program about Arctic ice cores and what it could tell us about climate change and the history of the world. And I thought about the Franklin expedition that had run aground and people had frozen to death. And I thought I needed to open my show with some music. I wanted to hear a violin that was cold and alone and that made the feeling of people dying. And then I got Rick Jones, who's here tonight somewhere, to read the opening of one of the Franklin diaries. There was a CKCU music person who knew exactly the piece of music. And that interchange between the people who had expertise in music and the people who had other things was the magic that I think was one of the things that contributed so much to how we got going as a radio station.
Let me add something to that. I didn't quite realize until David just said so, but part of his professional career has been as a radio broadcaster. Part of Jim's, much of your professional career has been in radio, and I had the opportunity where I live now in Pennsylvania to run a radio station, a public radio station for several months. That's 100%, 150% a result of CKCU. And I think, so part of what this station has done is push so many people into professional broadcasting, certainly around Canada. I don't know about beyond Canada, but around Canada for sure.
Oh, very true. What we learned hands-on. I mean, we learned basically live on the air, which is very scary sometimes, but it really puts you come to quickly realize what a good radio program is and how it's put together. It doesn't come from sheets and other people telling you what to play. It comes from your brain. If your brain's off, your show will be a little flat. But otherwise, always be prepared. But again, be prepared to dump all that stuff in the garbage and just go a totally different direction. And that was the beauty of this. And that we turned out some really good broadcasters who went on to, very solid careers everywhere. But they all come back and they all remember these years as probably the most fun we ever had.
I know you mentioned about your broadcasting career. If you could just tell us which broadcasting have you been to, just for our listeners to know the path since you were teenagers and when you were students here, starting CKCU to your journey?
Well, it was the beginning of the career. As a kid, I was very shy. I was not an outgoing kid at all. I loved music. Every night, listen to my radio under the covers and listen to these guys talking on the radio, mostly guys back then. And I could never dream of being one of them. But when the opportunity arose and I heard about this new station at Carleton University, my first year there in journalism, I went up, I bugged them and got on the air and started in the closed circuit system and then 2 years later onto FM. But we just learned as we went. Someone wise said, when you're talking on a microphone live on the radio, that can be a very scary thing. But don't visualize all the people who might be listening. Just visualize one person. Even put a picture in front of you on the glass of one person, and that's who you're talking to. And that's really the secret, to me anyway, to good communication. You're not talking at people, you're talking to them. And CKCU represents that so well with a variety of music and ideas and personalities. And it was something different all the time. You learned something every day, but we're still entertained. And that was the beauty of it.
Roland, what experiences you have at CKCU that brought you or was helpful to you in the rest of your life?
Well, so for most of my career, I've been a business professor, but what I've studied is nonprofit cultural organizations that are strong and effective, and they could be in music, or they could be in museums, or they could be in broadcasting. And I think about CKCU as not always the most effective, but it's certainly the place where I first started to learn about how community and nonprofit organizations worked. And so that's been it's had a powerful influence on that part of my career, as well as the music. I still play guitar. I still love the music that I played on the air at the time. And so I've been looking forward to this 50th anniversary for decades. I've had this date on my calendar for a very long time.
Thank you, David. We just had our CKCU funding drive, and it is sometimes tough for us, but it must have been a lot tougher for you from beginning to not having the CKCU. I mean, for us, we just have to continue what you have started, but you and the people you work with have to start it from nothing. So tell us, give us some inspiration. How did you manage to do it?
Well, I think Jim said a lot of it, but the slate was clean. What we did know is we wanted to have a mix of all kinds of music that was not being played in Ottawa by any other radio station, and that included classical music, and that included folk music, and that included progressive and modern rock and roll music that just wasn't on the air here. But we also wanted to have spoken word, current affairs, thoughtful programs that talked about ideas. That was in the original plan. We were very fortunate at the beginning, too. We had impressed the Canadian Radio and Television Communications Commission with our license application, that we knew how to do things that nobody else had done in radio because we didn't know how to do things. And out of that, came a creative advertising department, because we were not fundraising with a fundraiser like now. Problem was we were too good at it. Our ads were so good, and some of the people that created those ads are here again tonight, that commercial radio stations didn't like it very much. And the CRTC, the regulator, said we had to change our model, and we did. So the advertising now is very straightforward, and we went to a funding drive. And I will tell you, that first funding drive was the scariest thing that ever happened to this station. Probably it's like that every year now, but the first time we did not know what we were doing. We didn't know how much money to ask for. We didn't have a clue.
And neither did Ottawa.
Mm-hmm.
It was a new presentation. We had to train the community in what the station was about.
Mm-hmm. I think the goal the first year was like $20,000.
Yeah, $18,000 or $20,000,
and we
something
got
like that.
like 90.
Yeah,
Is that, yeah,
something like that.
So surprise, good news for us.
And one of the things we didn't know was how big our audience was, because we didn't subscribe to the rating services. So we knew people were listening because they would phone in all the time, and we'd get lots of that. But we had no idea that we were as big as we were. And that was a really amazing thing to learn.
Yeah.
Well, Chris.
Yes, all right, everybody. Isn't that fascinating? So we've been listening to you, Jim Hurcomb, you, Roland Kushner, and you, David Mowbray. And that is fascinating. Stick around, and I'm hoping we'll have a chance to continue this discussion. We're going to bring in our next group of panelists here. And just as we do, we're going to play a bunch of congratulatory messages that came in from people across the country and beyond. So give this a listen, and we'll line up our next group here.
Chris Bartosh here. Happy 50th birthday, CKCU.
Harry Manx here. CKCU has been playing my music for 25 years. They still do. Let's keep supporting them, and congratulations. All the best.
Hi, this is Jamie Anderson. I'm a singer-songwriter here in Ottawa, and I want to congratulate CKCU on their 50th anniversary. I so appreciate that you do not play music that some big corporation tells you to play. You play the people's music.
Hey, it's Ace and Abby, and I just want to congratulate CKCU FM on turning 50. That is huge. I want to thank all the listeners for supporting the station, and the station for supporting artists like myself in reaching new audiences. Love you guys. See you soon.
Congratulations, CKCU, on turning 50. This is Tara Lightfoot, and I have to say campus radio is the way that I got my start, and I hope other people can get their start with you.
This is Mark Fries from the Phoenix Big Band wishing CKCU happy 50th. For 50 years your radio has warmed our hearts and made them glow. Now Ottawa, that's me and you. Thanks, dear CKCU.
Hey everybody, this is Tony D. I'd like to wish CKCU a happy 50th anniversary. I think I've been listening to CKCU for about 50 years myself. I've learned a great deal by listening to a lot of great music coming out of that radio station. And also it's been wonderful with the local music scene here in Ottawa. Thanks again and congratulations CKCU. Here's to another 50.
I'm Dave Clark of the band Steel Rail. Congratulations to CKCU on their 50th anniversary. Let's all keep supporting CKCU and keep independent roots music on the airwaves.
Hi, this is Shauna Caspi. I was a volunteer at CKCU over 20 years ago, and since then the station has played every album I've released, so I'm so grateful for that support. Congrats on 50 years, CKCU. Stay mighty for many, many years to come.
Hi, Paul Mills here. I have to say that CKCU is absolutely one of my favorite places to listen to music, particularly my favorite genre, folk and roots. And I can do it online and on demand from my home here in London, Ontario. Congratulations to everyone at CKCU on the occasion of the station's 50th anniversary. Keep it up, everyone.
Hi, this is Claire Lynch offering my congratulations to CKCU for hanging in there for 50 years. Thanks to your great programming and your committed listeners and volunteers, you just can't go wrong.
Stephen Richer, Carleton University. C is for celebration, as in 50 years. K is for kind, as in one of a kind. C is for community, as in bringing us together. U is for universal, as in values. Happy birthday.
See, isn't it fun to hear all of those accolades and congratulations rolling in from across the country and beyond for CKCU? And it is a miraculous and marvelous achievement here. Claude Munson, you came in, and we're very happy that you did. You brought a guitar. That makes us even happier. And here, let me turn on a couple of microphones here.
Cool.
And say hi to you, Claude Munson. How are you today?
Good.
Yeah. And you are featured on the album that CKCU just released, the vinyl album. You have a track on there.
Yes, I do. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So happy to be part of that.
That album is called Still the Mighty. What's the track that you have on there?
It's called Come Alive.
Yeah.
Come Alive.
Yeah.
That's the name of the song.
And that's what's happening tonight here. That's for sure. Everybody is alive and well and celebrating big time 50 years of CKCU. Claude, you are going to be the last person performing live in the first 50 years of CKCU.
Wow. Can't wait to tell my mom.
That's something to post on your socials, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
We're not really sure who the first person was. That's the interesting thing. We know what the first song was. It was Joni Mitchell. But we don't know who the first live performance was. At least I don't.
Crazy.
Maybe somebody knows. Meanwhile, you have a song. You have the guitar and the voice. What are you planning to play?
I'm going to play a song off my EP called Boxing Day Weekend. The song is called Get It While It's Good. And it's just a song I like to play.
Very appropriate. Hey, let's hear it, everybody. Come on, everybody. Let's hear it for Claude Munson right here.
I was climbing the mountain, the top I couldn't see. Saw the ocean was underneath and pulling me. Felt like I was under the world. I was holding the whole damn world. I wanted everything. I wanna be an airplane, flying over everything. You gotta get it while it's good, gotta get it while you understood nothing from it. Don't wanna be the one come running back. I hope all is okay. I hope everybody's okay. Wasn't over till mid-October when I took some time to take it over and over again. Blew up in my mind, started tracing the lines back, ones I couldn't find, 'cause I'm in a time lapse. So hats off to you for seeing it through. Hats off to you with all that you do, getting yourself there. But yeah, you know I care. You gotta get it while it's good, gotta get it while you understood nothing from it. Don't wanna be the one come running back. I hope all is okay. I hope everybody's okay. And I found a road with a little light, down a path in the middle of the night, where it's calm and I know I'm there, without a thought, without a care. Oh, I wasn't like this. Oh, I wasn't always quite like this. You gotta get it while it's good, gotta get it while you understood nothing from it. Don't wanna be the one come running back. I hope all is okay. I hope everybody's okay, 'cause I was stuck. I was just a rat in a cage with my luck, trying to act my age and turn the page. I've battled in the ashes. Now I'm stuck and I'm picking up the trash, man.
Yay! That's Claude Munson here. Thanks so much for that
Thanks for having
performance.
me.
And thanks for coming in. That sound you're hearing beeping in the background, everybody. Guess what? That's it. Yeah, you were wondering right during your song. That is a fire alarm here
Do we have to get
in
out of
the
here?
building.
All
And
right.
we all have to leave.
Gotta go.
And you know what they say about the best laid plans and all that. So here we're going to start an album here. This is the one that you're on, Claude, actually.
Oh, awesome.
Still the Mighty. And we're going to
Right on.
play this and hope we can come back and continue this historic
Thank you for having me,
podcast.
and
Oh my God.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thanks, Claude. All the best.
It comes in waves. It comes in
And hello there. We've had an interesting 50th birthday here at CKCU. At the meet and greet earlier on, Nagle, the building here, formerly the Unit Center, there was actually a fire, and the fire department showed up, and we all had to evacuate the building. And a couple hours later, we were able to come back in and enjoy the meeting and greeting. And just past 10 minutes ago, fire alarm went off again, so we had to vacate the building again. It has stopped. So hopefully, we're hoping that CKCU will not burn down for its 50th birthday. That is our sincerest hope here at CKCU. And Chris is back up here. My name is David Dalle, host of the Thursday afternoon 2 to 4, the Dave Dalle Show. And I hope you're all enjoying our 50th birthday. Happy birthday, CKCU. And Chris, and he forgot to put on. You forgot to put on you pressed the wrong turntable. So the turntable 2 was playing instead of turntable 1. But we had to rush out of here. The fire department was kicking us out, so we had to rush out. But it's playing now. I give it back to Chris.
Thank you very much for jumping into the situation here. What a weird set of circumstances.
I was waiting with some people who were not. I would thought, unless the flame actually see flames at midnight, I'm coming to put on that goddamn Joni Mitchell record. I am playing it no matter what.
Talk about commitment to the station.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, I give back to Chris here.
So yeah, all the guests are filing back in from the fire drill and coming back up to the 5th floor here at Nagle. And we're going to carry on with a bit of a modification to our plans.
Right, here you go, Chris.
Okay, thanks again, Dave. Hey, talk about commitment beyond the call of duty. So yeah, we've got lots of people that have very treasured connections with CKCU. They're here for the weekend. Some came from as far away as France, Spain, England, Philadelphia, British Columbia, and Prince Edward Island, and all across the country, Nova Scotia. People coming back to CKCU because it meant so much to them. So let's do what we were doing before. We'll turn Joni down here for a minute. And what we'll do is play a few more of those congratulatory messages, because it was so nice. People heard that CKCU was turning 50. Send us all these lovely messages, audio messages from everywhere, all around. So let's hear a few more of those. We'll get our guests lined up and we'll carry on reminiscing about the glorious enterprise known as CKCU.
This is David Woodhead for CKCU. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy 50 years, happy birthday.
Hi, I'm a singer-songwriter Piner from Kingston, Ontario, and I just want to congratulate CKCU on turning 50 and encourage listeners to keep on supporting this amazing station.
Oh, hey, Lynn Hansen here, and I would just like to wish CKCU a happy 50th. Love all that CKCU does to support independent music in this wonderful country of ours. Congratulations on reaching this huge milestone.
Hello, CKCU. Chris Ronald here, all the way from Vancouver. Happy 50th birthday. Thanks for supporting the arts.
Hi, everybody. It's Andrea Ramelow, and I am here to wish CKCU a very happy 50th anniversary. It's my favorite station across the nation with some great shows, always highlighting Canadian talent, and they have been so supportive of me and my friends over the years. So keep tuning in, and here's to another 50. Happy anniversary.
Salut, c'est Guillaume Jabour. Congratulations, CKCU, on your 50th. You've certainly been there for Jabor and Guriangumbo. Thanks a lot. Keep the music going. Félicitations.
This is Stephen Fearing, and I just want to say thank you to CKCU Radio for 50 incredible years on air. You've supported artists like me time and again, spinning our songs, sharing our stories, and keeping real music alive. Happy 50th, CKCU. Here's to 100 more.
This is Tara Spencer in Nova Scotia, wishing CKCU a very happy birthday. 50 years of celebrating Canadian music, including mine, with the listeners of Ottawa-Gatineau. Let's keep the music going.
Hi, this is Chris McLean, calling to say happy 50th birthday, CKCU. I'm so grateful for all you do to support us local musicians and the working musicians coming through Ottawa and the area. We couldn't do what we do nearly as well or as sustainably without your support, not to mention the venues we play in. So many, many thanks. I encourage all you Space Cadets and listeners of all the great programs at CKCU to continue supporting community radio. It keeps us all informed with honest and varied perspectives, exposes us to music from all over the planet, and all of this is much needed in this crazy, corporate-driven and often slanted world. So keep up the great work, and happy birthday, CKCU!
Hi, I'm Ronnie, wishing CKCU a wonderful 50th anniversary. I've had an op to play there and interview there a couple of times. It's just fabulous. Keep supporting your local stations. They're the best.
Another lovely set of messages from people wishing CKCU well. And everything's in disarray here. Like maybe
yes,
sort of
it
like
is.
It was in the very first day. Who knows what it was like. I know there were a lot of cheers and tears, actually, when CKCU first went on
Cheers and tears. I like that.
Julie Cormier, thanks for being here at this late hour and going all the way down to the main floor, to the outside.
That's right. We all got some good cardio in this evening, and I'm meeting so many great people and so many longtime volunteers, so many former volunteers, which is great. Yeah.
And here we have three lined up here in Studio A. So let's just say hi to Thaw and to Eric Dormer. And Monique, tell me your last name again here. Let's turn on some mics and
Okay,
Lanoix.
Monique Lanoix. Yeah. And here you are. You all have connections that go pretty far back with CKCU. Julie, what would you like to ask these folks?
Well, first, I would love to know how many years you guys were involved with CKCU, and also kind of what drew you to get involved in community radio.
I was... It's Eric here. I was here from 19... So Eric Dormer here. I was here from 72, the last CKCU AM production manager, and then the first FM production manager from 75, getting it going to 76 when I graduated. And well, 4 years for a 3-year program. I wonder why. So I was doing that job here for those years.
Okay. Monique, what about you?
I was drawn to actually the music side, and I became a fan of old blues, Bessie Smith actually, and so I somehow was John Tackerberry let me sort of do part of his show with him, co-host kind of thing, and I was hooked, and I went through the training program, which was Short Circuit, and then basically it was my love of music, but also just playing different styles. So from old blues, women's blues in particular, as they were very radical, and their lyrics really sort of going against all the racist and sexist stuff they had to deal with, to going into jazz. And then I became involved here as assistant program director and then program director.
Oh, wow.
And then went on to CFRU to be station manager there. Because I truly believe in community radio, because it's about an easy communication amongst a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And Al, do you want to tell us about your CKCU journey?
Well, my journey started somewhere in 72, 73 when I could hear the music in the Tunnel Junction when I was a student. And I was always fascinated by radio. So I thought, well, I'll take a walk up here. And I met the program director, and next thing I know, I'm in closed circuit. And I did a stint there, well, obviously till about 75. I became assistant program director in, I think, 74 or late 73, somewhere in there. And just before we went on air for FM, I became the librarian. So I was the one, along with Cheryl Bennett at Wilson is her name now. She was the music director, and between us, we were the ones that got all the records for the new FM library. But I did all kinds of jobs when I was here. I worked in production. I did special blend. I did a blues show before John Tackerberry. I think he took it over from me. And I did all kinds of good, fun stuff. Did the blend, did an all-night show on Friday nights called Waster's Choice.
Okay.
Freeze-dried radio for the brain. And we were very silly.
I love it. I love it. It sounds like you had a lot of fun. So would you guys want to share like some of your highlights, let's say, like of your time here at CKCU? Like, are there certain moments that stand out to you guys?
Well, for me, it's when Joni plays at midnight. I get a shiver up and down my spine every time I hear it.
Which is going to happen momentarily.
Yeah,
coming
I get
up
a little
soon.
choked thinking about it. But we had a lot of fun. I don't know if we're going to pick this up after Joni, but we had a lot of shenanigans that we get involved in just to keep things light and fun. We brought a circus to town in the gym. We co-sponsored that. I think one of our biggest misdeeds, but we got away with it, is we set up a studio at the Central Canada Exhibition. So we had turntables, tape machines, brought one of our old couches and chairs, and we were playing records. I went down with my partner at the time, down to Longoy to pick up this equipment that from a bankrupt station that McCurdy was bringing the equipment back. And they said, well, if you pick it up, we'll loan it to you. And you can set up in the X. We had a blast. But when they got their equipment back, they said, we're never doing that again. Because there's so much dust and dirt out there. I remember, you want me to shut up?
No, I'm just thinking because we just saw Jim Hurcomb brought in an album of photos, and there was a photo of that event at the X where CKCU was there for a week. Is that right?
That's amazing. That's right.
Yeah, I never thought about all the dust and grime and so on.
I remember doing I did special blend one morning, and I was the guy on the board. I wasn't the host per se, but we had an interview lined up with Mayor Laurie Greenberg, and right in the middle of the interview with him, a garbage truck pulled up and decided they were going to pick up the garbage from across the way. But yeah, we did all kinds of silly things there. I remember somebody grabbed a mic and extended the cable as long as they could and walked across the little roadway to where, I'm not sure if it was CJRC or CKCH in Hull. They had a little booth there, and they had a model out front. And we sent someone over to interview the model.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
So
guess
I
what?
want to hear some more highlights, but
it's 1 minute to midnight.
oh my gosh, you
And
guys.
here we got Steve Colwill, who was the person that introduced the first track that was ever played on CKCU. We got him to record this, so we're going to play it.
Okay.
Then we're going to play the track, and then we're all going to cheer and cry.
Yes, let's do it, you guys.
If you're driving into town with a dark cloud above you, dial in the number who's bound to love you. So goes the first verse of Joni's song, and it was the first verse heard on CKCU that cold November night in 1975. Steve Colwill here. I was the guy who chose that song. To be honest, it jumped into my mind when I was given the task of hosting the first show, mainly because I was looking for a song that had the word radio in the title. Looking back, I think it was a pretty good choice. Wow. Hard to believe as CKCU FM 93.1 begins its half-century of broadcasting, that Joni Mitchell classic still resonates.
You are listening
As
to
for me,
CKCU
I owe so much of my
93.1
life to
FM in Ottawa.
CKCU. First as a music lover who wanted to try playing records on the radio in 1973, when CKCU was just closed circuit and FM was still a dream, to doing my first shows on a real radio station and a love for the medium that led to a career. Then, like now, and all the years in between, the station has been made possible by the commitment of dedicated volunteers and, most importantly, listeners like you who made the dream a reality in 1975 and have continued to support CKCU FM's pioneering commitment to excellent, diverse programming that serves so many in the Ottawa-Gatineau area. Cheers.
Officially 50 years!
Driving into town with a dark cloud above you, dialing the number who's bound to love you. Oh, honey, you turn me on. I'm a radio, I'm a country station, I'm a little bit corny, I'm a wildflower waiting for you, broadcasting tower waiting for you, and I'm sending you this signal here. I hope you can pick it up loud and clear. I know you don't like weak women, you get bored so quick, and you don't like strong women 'cause they're hip to your tricks. It's been dirty for dirty down the line, but you know I come when you whistle and you're loving and kind. If you've got too many doubts, if there's no good reception for me, then tune me out. 'Cause honey, who needs the static? It hurts the head and you wind up cracking, and the day goes dismal from breakfast party to the sign of prayer. What a sorry face you get to wear. I'm gonna tell you again now, if you're still listening there. If you're driving into town with the dark cloud above you, dialing the number who's bound to love you. If you're lying on the beach with the transistor going, kick off the sand flies, honey, the love's still flowing. If it says forget it, but your heart's still smoking, call me at the station, the lights are open.
There are at least 50 people up here, Julie.
Oh, there is?
Oh, yeah. They're
It's
all
a
down the
party,
hallway.
you guys.
Yeah,
I've
party.
never felt this kind of energy in the CKCU studio before. It's so exciting. And we still have Al and Eric with us. And Al, before we heard Joni, Al was talking about some memories. And Eric, I would love to know kind of some of your highlights of your time at CKCU. Will you share with us?
Yes, Julie. So you had asked me before, and I didn't answer. How did I get here? What happened? I was down in the music listening room on the 4th floor, where we had a room where you could ask for albums to be played through a set of headphones, and you were all sitting on recliners. And I had gone in there because I just gotten my first year midterm marks, and I was out. I was failing. I was not going to pass. I didn't want to go home to my parents. They were going to kill me. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I went in just to relax. I saw music listening. I said, I need something. And I flipped the little switch over, and I heard Jethro Tull's Thick as a Brick. And I thought, what is this? Mm-hmm. And after that, on came the announcer saying, come on up to the 5th floor to CKCU. We're looking for volunteers. And I went, what? I'm on the 4th floor. So I went up the stairwell, and I came into the station, and I was showed the station around. I got to the very back of the hall into production, and there, standing there, I'm just seeing through the glass now Peter Lennon, the AM, the AM production manager before me. He handed it over to me. I walked into that room. I saw the equipment, and I said, I'm hooked. I'm here. Mm-hmm. I've got to do this. The problem was someone had blown out the monitor speakers in production. He couldn't use the board. He had shows to do. He was frantic to try to figure out how he could use the board. And I wouldn't let him go. I pestered the heck out of him to say, how does this work? I have to get involved with this. And so when it came to, okay, who's going to go carry this on for Peter? Peter said, well, I'm going to tell you who's going to do that right now. So that's one of my foremost memories of coming here. For the next 4 years, my parents never saw me. I slept underneath the production console because I had to edit all the tapes of the 50 volunteers that I trained, the first ones to come in. They all wanted to go to class for some reason. They were desperate to get out and get to class on time. I didn't understand that because the university is great, but classes mess up your whole day. And so I had to fix all of their edits. Well, so when the security guys came along at midnight, everybody had to be out except the on-air announcer. I hid underneath the production department, and then I'd fall asleep for an hour or two and get some sleep, and then I'd finish my editing, and then I'd get on the bus and go home in the morning. So those are some of the that's why, I mean, we all left here for the fire drill, and I'm going, just go into production and get underneath the board. And I hid there all the time.
Just go hide.
So some of those. The other big one I have that I'll remember is I drove my motorcycle, my 500cc motorcycle, into Res Commons, parked it in the middle for our first World of Tomorrow Punch party, and for some reason they didn't allow us back into the Res Commons ever again for a party. Some things happen. I don't understand.
I wonder why.
I wonder why, too.
And Jeff Green, if he hadn't been on the back to get me out of there, they would have caught me on the golf carts getting out of the tunnels. But, at least he was there to help me out, keep the doors open.
So definitely lots of shenanigans from what I gather. Chris, I don't know how we're doing for time, but if we have a few more minutes, I was wondering if either of you or both of you have any advice or insight to share with kind of like a newer volunteer such as myself. I'm 11 years into my CKCU journey. I guess compared to a lot of people here, I'm kind of a baby volunteer. So do you have any advice or insights to share with someone like me or Becca, whose first day of volunteering at CKCU is today, out of all days, which I love. But yeah, any thoughts or insight to share?
Well, my thought would be, and I was remembering after the first fire alarm that we had tonight, I was telling people when we had the second fire alarm that I was alone in the studio probably sometime after midnight, sometime in the summer, back in the early days, our first few years on FM. And what people don't realize is when we went on the air, there was no FM radio for contemporary adults like the 18 to 36 group. There was nothing. And until we came along and we had a free ride until Shay showed up. Mm-hmm. So they were our dastardly buggers. But anyway, still friends with all those Shea guys. But so I remember fire alarm. I grabbed thick. The security guy come on, stuck his head in the studio door. Got to get out. So I went in the library, grabbed thick as a brick, put it on, and left. But it was the early days, so I was standing outside chatting with some pub staff, I suspect, and Roosters people. And when we got the all clear, we came upstairs, got off the elevator, came down the hall, turned the corner to come into the studio area, and all I could hear was tick, 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 tick. And it wasn't Mike Houston, it was the record skipping. And it wasn't at the end. It was about 2/3 of the way through. So it had been skipping for a while. And
Oh,
I was
boy.
like, oh, crap.
Oopsies. Sometimes you can't control those things, right?
No,
and
I
I think that's the fun of live radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as advice for new people, be yourself. Get up here, volunteer. You'll never be the same.
Mm.
You will learn things here you will have for the rest of your life. And it's do what you want to do, and you will be appreciated.
That's
Our-
great.
Our slogan back in the day was, this is a charter flight, no private trips, please.
Yep.
So if you got too into yourself and you were, not part of the team, it was all for one and one for all. So it was like, no private trips here. You play the way we want to play, and you're more than welcome to play with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Good.
about having
Nice
fun.
words
I mean,
of
I'm
advice.
having fun. I don't know about you, Chris.
And I like that, Eric, you're saying that your advice is to be yourself. And that's the same advice that Chopper gave me at one point, the late
that's
Chopper
so
McKinnon.
nice.
That's exactly what it was. 2 words, 3 words, just be yourself.
And you will mix in. You
Yeah.
will be part of the team. You will be a part of the team that they don't have. And it happens. You're in the right place at the right time.
Amazing. Thank
Okay.
you both so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thaw, Eric Dormer. We're going to go and recruit some of the other people that are in the
we have a lot of
hallways
people to
here.
talk to, Chris.
And all over the radio station here, celebrating 50 years.
50 years.
Of CKCU. And so here, while we're just getting people lined up, guess what, Julie? Here's another song about the radio.
Love it.
And this is recorded by, they call themselves Beck and Rusty. It's Rebecca Campbell and Russell Levia.
Let's do
right
it.
here on CKCU.
See you.
Come and listen in to the radio station where the mighty hosts of heaven sing. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. If you want to hear the songs of Zion coming from the land of endless spring, get in touch with God. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. And listen to the music in the air. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Heaven's glory share. Heaven's glory share. Turn your lights down low. Turn your lights down low. And listen to the Master's radio. Get in touch with God. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Come and listen in to the Glory Land chorus. Listen to the glad hosannas roll. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Get a little taste of love eternal. Get a little heaven in your soul. Get in touch with God. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. And listen to the music in the air. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Heaven's glory share. Heaven's glory share. Turn your lights down low. Turn your lights down low. And listen to the Master's radio. Get in touch with God. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Listen to the songs of the fathers and the mothers and the many friends gone on before. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on.
big ending there from Beck and Rusty. Turn your radio on, and hopefully you've done that, and that's why you're hearing us. CKCU in the second 50 years of CKCU. We're into it now.
That's right. This is Regina Sosing, 1214, CKCU 93.1 FM, and there's a big cake out there, and I'm really happy to see so many CKCU alumni here.
It shows you how much this radio station means to the people that have been involved in creating it over the years. And
Absolutely.
we know also from the listeners, we just went through funding drive and donations came in. You can still do that, folks, by the way. Go to ckcufm.com to support this glorious enterprise. But we know this means a lot to the participants here and also to the community.
That's right. And we had some alarm that came off, and because of that, we had a chance to have some briefing with our next panel to discuss here their experiences at CKCU. First up, she had been with CKCU in 1981 and 1986. Good morning to Carolyn Brown. Hi.
Hi.
And next one, she was with us at CKCU at 1987 to 1988, Cristina Usubiaga.
Hello.
Yay.
And we have from 1987 to 1993, we have Andrea Clark.
Good morning, everyone.
And from 1992?
92 to 96.
92 to 96, we have Susanna
Gonzalez.
Now, the four of them, and I think me, have something in common. Four of them had been part of Special Blends, and Tinig Pinoy, who I've been part of since 2000, started with Special Blends during Susanna's time. So first, let's speak with Carolyn. Tell us about your experience. What was your show about?
So I started at CKCU on Artistic License, which was the art show, long running, and we talked to everybody in the local community arts scene at a time when there was very little coverage of local arts. And we became an essential part of the art scene. And then I moved up to Special Blend. I was host, but I was also producer. And we had a very rigorous schedule where we had, Pat Nagle, who was a station manager, added an extra hour to the show. So I had to program 3 solid hours of Special Blend. And it was very challenging. But we did it by being, we were discussing earlier, being fearless. Just calling anybody we wanted to talk to and getting them on the air. At the time, there were a lot of political issues. We had people from Council of Canadians on very often and other socially progressive activist organizations talking about local, national, and international issues. And from there, I moved on to be Director of Public Affairs in charge of all public affairs programming. And again, we had an extremely rigorous schedule with Special Blend in the morning, a show at noon, and a variety of programming in the evening, and the cultural shows on the weekend. So it was there was a lot of very, very interesting, dynamic public affairs programming.
Cristina, how was your show?
Oh, I was very lucky to be brought into this community. A friend of mine was producing Let X Equal X, which was a popular science show, and she brought me in as a co-producer, and it was just, it was so fascinating and wonderful to do. And through my experience, I was only here for 2 years, but I had the opportunity to go to theater, to films and dance and produce reviews as well as interview book authors and musicians. And I think for me, what was the pinnacle, which I loved the most, was being able to host Special Blend. And I landed on Friday mornings with Jeff Cohen. That was my regular partner after doing other runs, and we ran into a groove and we had a fantastic time. It was a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm. Andrea, you were very brave. We were talking about earlier, sometimes other radio stations do not cover some events, and you were very brave. Tell us about the things you have covered over the years.
Oh my, that's quite the introduction. Yes, I first got involved. I'll tell you a little bit about how I got involved, which was when I first came to Carleton in 1987. I immediately landed my butt at the Ontario Public Interest Research Group, which had a Cross Currents was the name of a radio show that was being produced. I think it was weekly. And I think I must have gotten a little job to produce that show and worked with a lot of journalism students, some young folk. I was already in my mid-20s, I guess, at that point. And so things moved on. The thing about radio, and at first it was very intimidating. Like, I have to splice tape, and I have to figure out, I do an interview, and then I have to figure out what's coming in and going out and cut it up and tape it up together. I guess people don't realize is that when you're putting a show together that's going to be going on air, you do have to actually edit your show and edit your pieces. So I had to learn all that. I was completely brand new. But I do recall doing all kinds of shows, just from A to Z, whether it was an environmental issue, that was also the era of the Mulroney government, and there was the sort of Mulroney-Reagan era, and the negotiations around free trade with the Canada Free Trade Agreement. So we were dealing with all kinds of political issues. But one particular experience that stands out for me, actually, I think it was 1987. It was the first Intifada in Palestine. And I wanted to cover that, and I can't remember what show I was putting that on. But I was actually the producer, but I had a journalism student that was hosting it. So we decided that we were going to ask a political science professor at Carleton, who is a Middle East studies expert, and talk a little bit about the history and what was going on actually in the Middle East and in Palestine and this situation with the Intifada. Anyway, we decided to go ahead. We had a host, and we were going to do an open line show, meaning we wanted people to call in and ask questions, and our guest was going to speak to those questions, and questioners sort of educate people about what's going on. We're talking 1887 here. This wasn't 2023. So for anybody that's listening and wondering, the issues didn't really start in 2023. So I was at home. I was in my, like I said, mid to, I think it was 26 or 27, something like that. And I got a call from the Israeli embassy. And they called me up on the phone at home, those phones that are plugged into the wall. And they basically said, I don't think you should be going ahead with that program. I was wondering how the heck they even knew I was planning it. But they basically said to me that, if you go ahead with this program, the CKCU might lose its license. Next thing I know, I go into the radio station, and they called up the station manager and said the same thing. Well, I'll tell you, we went ahead with that show. And we didn't actually, the person that ended up calling wouldn't get off the line, and we only had one line. So, of course, it wasn't a call-in aspect of it. So in terms of being courageous and fearless and about covering the issues of the day, Palestine was controversial in that time, and at this point in time it is still rearing its ugly head. There's been no resolution, and we covered all these kinds of issues anytime. I remember interviewing Elizabeth May. We all know Elizabeth May, the leader of the Green Party. This was before she even got involved with the Green Party. Some of us have this history of people, and she was in the studio, and she'd published a book on South Moresby, and it was like 1988, and Canada and BC had just sort of negotiated. They basically paid off the McMillan-Bloedel so that they could establish a national park. So many issues. You need to cut me off because I talk too much.
Fantastic. Now, Susanna, this was the 80s. Tell us about the 90s in a Special Blend.
I came into CKCU in 92, and Special Blend, I worked on different shows. I wasn't necessarily a host a specific day. I worked with Alka Sharma at the time. And I loved the Special Blend because you had so many segments that later turned into great shows that are still around today. We had this freedom that I originally came to Carleton to study journalism, and I just felt it was the whole program maybe I shouldn't say this, but felt really contrived at the time. I felt it was very restrictive, and I came into CKCU having a really bad sense of direction. I got lost in this building, and I thought, well, I'll just turn left. And then I walked in, and everybody was like, hey, people were super friendly. I was like, what? This is very unlike the rest of the campus at the time. And it was just a real sense of community here, that you had a lot of creative and freedom of thought, and there's a lot of very professionally minded people that time. I felt that trained us really well. You talked about editing, learning how to splice your things, how to edit, how to write your scripts, how to approach interviews, all these different, like the technical aspects, knowing how to work the board. So it's all these different skills that transfer into everyday things. So it was such a great experience, and I have to say that is one of the things that has helped me in terms of work and just life. Just having had this experience, because when do you have this much freedom to express in a community that you can learn from and have that support is just something beautiful and magical, that I'm so glad it's still here, and that I hope it'll be around for 150 more.
Now, as true CKCU journalists, I'm going to give you 30 seconds each, ladies, about your thoughts that we're celebrating 50 CKCU. Let's start from Carolyn.
I am thrilled that we have survived this long. It was not something you could take for granted. And I think we were talking earlier that the station gives voice to the voiceless. We brought in so many community organizations and people with something to say, and may it continue.
I am impressed by the talent that was developed through this incredible experience. So many people went on to do amazing things. So many people stayed on to nurture this and build this, and it's continuing, and I hope it continues for another 50 years, another 150 years, however long we have on this earth. It has been, it does speak to so many voices, and also, to give props to the music side of things. Music, it was like so much incredible music was introduced to me through what was programmed through the station. So it was wonderful. And we also got comp tickets to so many concerts and performances and ballets and films and theater. It was an incredible experience.
Wow, it just with this 50th anniversary, there's people that have come here to Ottawa to celebrate. I've come from Victoria. There's tens of I won't say tens of hundreds, but there's probably about 60 people out there in the hallways. This community that we've built, that we're still connected to. Like, I was so excited to come to this anniversary because I wanted to see all my buds from the 80s and the 90s and really reconnect and realize that what we did back then and what people continue to do now is so important. I mean, we do know that, the issue of what's going on in the media, in the whatever you want to call that media, the media out there, the voices of the voiceless. Radio is a very accessible medium, and it's really important to hear from people directly. And when you travel, I was in the South Pacific living there for a while, and a lot of people in some communities, there's no newspaper. Back in the day there wasn't. Now we've got the internet, which we didn't have back then. So radio can still be such an important source of information, knowledge sharing for so many people, and empowering. And it can actually be a mobilizing force. And so radio can do a lot of things. It can introduce those artists that never get playtime, on the other media, and introduce people to music, not only books, arts, politics, understanding. It's a really important medium to continue to support. So thank you to all the supporters who continue to make contributions and donations. And I'm just so excited to be here. And I want to thank Mr. White there, who has been hosting this. And,
Chris.
There we go.
Thank you. Susanna.
Just quickly, I'm very thankful that I can be here and to see all our predecessors, to see the station is what love looks like when people work together, and it endures. It's endured for 50 years, and I see that it's still going, and it's a very powerful voice, especially now when we have so many machines that let us turn our brains off, and we don't have to think about things. But if we don't use our muscle, we're going to lose it. So radio is a really powerful medium in that sense, because it's a thinking medium. And so thank you for listening, and I hope everyone will continue to support the station.
Thank you very much. And a special blend from us at Tinig Pinoy. Thank you. We are now 33 years, and if it wasn't for your show giving us 15 minutes of time, we wouldn't be here. Chris.
I'm just so moved to hear what I've been hearing from this panel in particular. The entire experience tonight, of course, has been very moving and very exciting and inspiring. And we're going to carry on, but I just love that phrase that you used to say that this is what love looks like. And
Absolutely.
It feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And isn't
We
that
all love
amazing?
each other.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that a beautiful thing?
important.
And they're out there in the community, and the various artists and organizations and innovators and spokespeople, they're all benefiting as well from this activity. So it's just a beautiful thing. All right, I'm going to play because Patrick Nagle, who was the station manager here at a very important time in CKCU's history, he's going to slide into the chair here with a few comments for us. But just, I'm going to play a little something here that's going to maybe be a little emotional for people, because I recorded Chopper McKinnon at one point, just talking about how this station came to be called the Mighty 93, which it is. There's a book coming up, 150-page hardcover, 12 by 12 inch book of CKCU history. It's called The Mighty 93. There's an album that we were playing earlier during the fire alarm, which is called Still the Mighty. So I asked Chopper, where did that come from anyway, the Mighty? So this is the late Chopper McKinnon with just a short little explanation of that phrase here.
The call sign is 93.1 FM, the Mighty 93. I started using it and I liked it, and other people picked up on it, and it's great. And it describes the truth of the matter. We are the Mighty 93.
Oh, there is the word from the late Chopper McKinnon, who founded Canadian Spaces in 1980. Patrick Nagle.
Hi, Chris.
That brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Oh, man, does it ever. Chopper was so full of phrases that have grown, chopperisms that have grown and continued. I enjoyed sitting in the studio with him from time to time as he punched the wrong button and talked about the importance of the demystification of radio.
Hey, I can use that, actually.
You can, yes, yeah.
He also used to blame those little gaffes on Thumbs McKinnon. That was his alter ego. I remember that.
I enjoyed the demystification of radio, and I've used that in the past.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Patrick, you were the station manager here, as I said, a very important time. I mean, it's all been important times.
Yeah.
But what stands out for you during your tenure here?
Well, I was here in the early 1980s, and it was, a period of transition. People had left CKCU to go and work at other radio stations in town. New volunteers were coming in, new people were taking on roles and stuff. And so part of, I think, what we were doing at the time was looking a little bit to the future to see what it might look like. Mm-hmm. Not that any of us really knew.
I don't think anybody at that time envisioned being here now.
Well, we were concentrating heavily on the 10th anniversary at that time, and the fact that the station had made 10 years when its sister station, CJUM at the University of Manitoba, had folded within the first 5 or 6 years of its existence. My introduction to campus community radio, I was living in Winnipeg at the time, and CJUM went on the air in 1975, round about the same time as CKCU did. And there was much hoopla, and it was cool, and they did lots of interesting things, and kaboom. And it did not survive. It did not survive. Now, another version of it came along years later, but CKCU continued and made it through all of the rough and lumpy, bumpy parts of things to make it to 50, and I don't expect I'll be here for 100, but I have optimism that somebody
Sure,
that I
not?
met here at some point will be here for the 100th.
Yes.
Absolutely. CKCU obviously had a huge impact in Ottawa and in the area for musicians, for storytellers, for journalists, for people who wanted to work in the media in the future, for people who just wanted that sense of community that they could get through radio. And I think sometimes people forget what a huge impact the existence of CKCU had on campus community radio in all of the rest of the country.
Oh, okay. Say a little more about that.
Yeah. Well, because at the time when CKCU signed on in 1975 and CJUM, there weren't.
It didn't exist.
It was a new thing.
Campus-based community radio stations? No.
Could this happen? Could it go? And I think when CKCU signed on and was successful and fought the fights that it had to fight with the CRTC and everybody else about how to get funding, starting the funding drive, doing all those things, a lot of people in a lot of other communities saw the ideas that they had about community radio being possible. There it was. There was an example.
There's the example.
It was working. I know before I came to work here, I set up a radio station at the University of Western Ontario in London, and late 1970s, early 1980s. And the existence of CKCU, people knew about it, even though London, Ontario is a fair piece away from Ottawa, so people weren't listening to it. There was no internet. You couldn't hear it unless you were within reach of the transmitter. But the idea that it could do it, and that it could be successful, and that it could get a high-power FM license and be heard broadly in the community, was something that inspired, I think, a lot of people. It inspired the folks at Western to want their version of the radio station. They have one. They just celebrated their, 44th anniversary or something like that. But stations all across the country. So the CKCU had a broader impact that I think sometimes people working at the station may not have known about.
Realize, yeah.
And it was an important thing, because now there's campus community radio stations everywhere. Mm-hmm. And this station played a big part, in a way, in making some of that happen.
See, I'm also thinking now about the impact, a different kind of impact, but specifically on musicians I'm thinking of, because they'd be coming to town, they'd be touring from wherever, and they'd be coming in here, and their music would be heard, and people would go to their concerts, their events. That was another kind of national and international influence.
Yeah, and musicians got to know the station, that the station existed, and that you could get your record played here. I mean, I remember, Jane Siberry, who recently won some kind of big award
she's
for
in the Canadian Songwriter Hall of Fame now. Yeah.
But her first album came out, and her first gold record for that album was on the wall here because of the work that Chopper did on Canadian Spaces to let people know and help the record take off and help it roll. So there's a lot of those kinds of stories. And
I interviewed Jane recently, and I mentioned that gold record on the wall, and she said, it's not real gold. I said, yeah, I figured. Yeah.
No, the station would have cashed it in by now, I'm sure.
I think we would have needed that money at some point.
Yeah, but CKCU played a big influential role in a lot of things. We were involved when I was here in getting a national organization set up for campus community radio.
Oh, okay.
The first of the modern era of national campus community radio conferences was held here.
Oh, yeah.
Craig Mackey, who was my predecessor as manager here, was part of the team, and some of the people who are in the room over here were involved in making it happen. That now exists as a national organization. It's existed for decades now, and it lobbies the government and does the CRTC things and helps coordinate and pushes things forward. So CKCU played an integral part in making that happen. So there's another one of those kind of national impact things that you don't necessarily think of as a listener, but it's part of the reason why the station's so important and why you should donate to Funding Drive if you haven't already.
Yes, well said, Patrick Nagle. There's one other thing I'd like to mention. I'm sure this was the case because I've been listening back to recordings that were made back in the day. So you said you were here in the 80s, and even right from the start, the level of creativity and creative energy around this place is astounding. And especially if I think about the way technology now is much easier than it was in the days when you had to literally cut a tape. If you wanted to cut
tape and not your fingers.
Yes, and then tape it back together to make edits. And the sheer creativity that obviously abounded here, with people so committed to doing innovative types of audio experiences for people.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of people who were volunteers here for periods of time kind of went out into the world and did some of that in other places. And all kinds of creative people in television and movies and audio and radio and journalism and storytelling and all of those kinds of things got their start here. And I know I worked for the CBC for a while after I was here, and I would constantly run into people who, oh, you're the guy, you're the guy from CKCU. I remember having a wonderful conversation with the vice president of the CBC one time. We were talking about Canadian Spaces and Saturday mornings on CKCU, and he couldn't understand why you guys didn't move this over there and that over there. And I said, because it's community radio, and you do what works, and what works for you is not necessarily what the formula would dictate.
Right.
So no, it's interesting, and there are CKCU people everywhere.
You run into them
everywhere,
far and wide.
Yeah.
Well, let's just mention, because you talked about being with CBC for a while, but let's just mention, what was your career with CBC?
Oh, well,
you're a very interesting example of what came out of CKCU.
Yeah, I actually am. I guess some people would call it an anomaly. Some people would call it kind of crazy. But no, I worked with CBC Northern Service, or CBC North as it's now known, in Iqaluit, which is now in Nunavut, for 33 years.
Yeah.
And I did the same job. I was the manager there.
For television and
television, radio, sweeping the satellite dish out on Christmas Eve because the snow was too deep and we couldn't get the signal in.
There's an image, wow.
Yeah, driving people to work through blizzards and all kinds of stuff. But no, a very interesting job, and probably the one, I used to tell people, probably the one and only job at the CBC that was close to the job that I had here.
Yeah, because up there it's community radio as well.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, big time. And we were involved with small little local stations and communities and helping people get stuff to work and doing all of the regular things that CBC does, journalism, storytelling, news, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, it was a very interesting time, and it went by like a flash.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's so nice that you're here, Patrick Nagle, and there are some other folks down the hall. I think they're eating cake and reminiscing and so on, but we'll get some of them here and have a chat. But in the meantime, speaking of that creativity, here's a little excerpt from something, I think this was done for the first anniversary of CKCU.
Mm-hmm.
They call the birthday tape.
Oh,
and it
yes.
would have been a tape.
Yeah.
But Tick, who's the host of Wednesday Special Blend, digitized this material and made it available. So going to play a little bit of this wild and wacky kind of shenanigans that used to go on around here.
Yeah, well, the birthday tapes were a really important thing, and it demanded creativity, and it demanded something unusual, and I'm sure that's what you're going to get.
This is Rex Randell, and I'm speaking to Randy Williams and Craig Mackey here on my show, The Galactic Eye.
The whole public hearing on May 6th was a very interesting time. We were so concerned about convincing the commission that we knew what we were doing that we prepared quite a lengthy tape and interwove it with a verbal presentation in order to prove to them that we could actually do what we said we could do.
That's very revolutionary and very interesting. Is there any more of that tape? Can we hear some more? I really enjoyed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, quiet please. We have a winner in the Great Moped Giveaway. The score is at the end of 11 phone calls. Number 1, 6. Number 2, 2. Number 3, 3. The winner is Contestant number 1.
Andrew Tate, can you identify this sound? Where is it? Sure.
Well, thank you very much for...
what is the sound, Andrew?
Believe it or not, it's a moped. I'm riding away now on it. Thanks.
All right,
radio listeners.
go, Andrew Tate, it's yours! Right away, Andrew.
Well, welcome back. This is Rex Randell here at GBS on Flagstaff 4, and I'm talking to Craig Mackey and Randy Williams.
Hi there. Universal audience?
Yes, it's universal.
How many people are watching?
They don't understand that question.
That's cool.
We're talking about listeners. What kind of listener reaction does Radio Carlton have?
Oh, we've had phenomenal reaction from the spontaneous phone calls.
Well, I'm going to have to cut you off, Randy. Hold on. We'll get to the answer to that in just a second, folks. But first, we have a message from one of our sponsors.
And that's just some of the great random pleasure sequentials that'll melt your circuitry twice a day on this channel. Bill and the boys in the back splice together some of the highest in hallucinogenic happenings to accompany your every electrosynthetic need. So lie back, attach the electrodes, and take off on Magna, the only station especially for androids.
You can call in for music that you want to hear. You can call in for information about different things.
Like I've been downtown and taxi drivers have told me that's the only thing they listen to.
I'm a licensed cab driver in the city of Ottawa. While I'm working, I listen to radio. The reason that I listen to CKCU is because they play music as opposed to bombarding me with commercials. It's so enjoyable in this city to find out that the government is able to give out a waveband to a radio station to play music as opposed to giving it to someone to make money on it.
I think it's great that Ottawa has a rock FM station. There's not commercials every 5 seconds because commercials drive me up the wall.
And I don't see how you can enjoy it if all you hear is commercials.
So it was really quite a relief a few months ago when CKCU started their FM station in Ottawa. Their commercials are really limited, and the ones that they do have are not insulting.
Radio Carlton has a vivid imagination. It's like watching television, but not letting your eyes get tired. Your ears never get tired.
To tell you the truth, I prefer radio any day to TV.
It's CKCU, because they like you. You know?
Don't darn dog. I know how to express it, you know. I don't mean shock. It's a little bit of surprise. You're going to think your ideas are so different from one's old focus.
I like to listen to CKCU, because they like you.
CKCU describes you.
Well, I think your station is the best station in all of Canada.
The most wonderful station in the world. I was in San Francisco when KSAN was conceived, which was really a fine station down there. And I've heard many, many, many stations, FM stations, and CKCU I've ever heard, without question.
All I can say is thank heavens for Radio Carlton. I'm one who feels that there are all kinds of taste and all kinds of experiences within a city, and that, you know, the more that these can be reflected, the better.
Competition sort of never hurts. I think it's nice that Ottawa has a station like this. It needs another one. A bit limited in news broadcasts. There's one thing I don't like is the news broadcast. I think that gives an insight into a whole community that would, in the city, that's resident in the city, that would otherwise be unknown. 50% of the time I turn Radio Carlton on, I turn it back off again. I have the feeling that you guys are going downhill with your music. They'd like to see it followed more in the footsteps of Chom in Montreal, you know what I mean?
And at first we listened to Sham when we first had Cablevision, but I found that they tended towards more commercial music.
At first I thought you were trying to compete with CHOM, but you sort of involved me in your own identity, which is good. What's that station up in Toronto? Chum, I think it's called? There's the 3 cities I'd say, you know, like you've got the best radio station. This is the best one. I other than that, I don't know what else I'd want. CKCU seems to fill my needs and pretty well all my friends' needs. The radio station that's doing it for Ottawa, and it's serving the purpose for Ottawa. CKCU is most definitely the most exciting thing that's ever happened to our boring Ottawa. Keep it up. Keep it up. I hope they keep it up. Better keep going.
You're getting to know the sound of Radio Carlton.
Like you got your things together. Very good job with the station. Really good.
I think you guys are doing a really good job.
Very good job.
Okay, great.
Just got it together. You're doing it right.
A breath of fresh airwaves. CKCU FM.
Really great. It's like a breath of life breath. Quite a refreshing thing. I enjoy the freshness of the personalities that are there. The fresh delivery.
Most refreshing thing that's come to Ottawa in a long time. The best thing that ever happened to radio in Ottawa.
The best radio station. The best radio station in Ottawa. Best radio station in Ottawa. Best station. The best thing that happened to us. I mean, Detroit, we had
all of Canada. It really makes my evenings special.
If another FM station did come to Ottawa, what kind of FM station would you like it to be?
just like yours.
Well, that's all we have time for today. This is Rex Randall saying goodbye. Goodbye, Randy. And Craig.
What, it's all over?
Yes, I'm afraid that's all we have time for this week. We'll say bye out there to our listening audience.
But what about next year? Next year?
Always with that shocked look on their
face. That's just a slight indication of what they call the birthday tape that was made year after year and played here.
Very nice.
See how much creativity went into that.
So what I just realized, Chris, is that it is officially November 15th, which in the city of Ottawa is CKCU 93.1 FM Day, officially. It is official. How exciting is that? Oh my gosh.
The official proclamation.
The official proclamation with the seal of the mayor's office and everything. You guys, this is real.
It's CKCU 93.1 FM Day in Ottawa all day today.
Amazing.
Saturday.
Amazing. So we're here.
What should we do to celebrate?
Well, we're here live in the CKCU studio with some current volunteers, some alumni, some staff members. It's just so exciting. The energy is great. And I'm happy to welcome Anne-Marie Brugger, Lance Baptiste, and Roland Kushner. So I want to know from each of you kind of how you were involved with CKCU and kind of what drew you to community radio.
All right, one of us has to start.
Well, you just did. I was. There you go.
There's three of us, and we have two microphones. So I'm the only woman in the room. So I'm going for it.
Let's do it.
I have had the pleasure of being the interim station director here at CKCU for the past 2 years, and I was. So it's in the past now. We have a new station director, and. It was really fun. It was a beautiful experience, and it was very challenging, but great. And the best part of it was getting to know all the volunteers and working with all the volunteers that make this station what it is, because obviously it's all programmed by volunteers. I also am co-host of Canadian Spaces, which is an honor as well, because Canadian Spaces has been on the air for 45 years. So when I first took on my role, thank you, Chris, for inviting me to be part of your collective. It was like I got to make sure like I'm doing everything right here. I make sure I script myself and I'm well prepared and try to deliver a really excellent show once a month. And I haven't had too many complaints, but I do stretch the envelope of folk music. I do stretch it to, a little bit more indie folk, I suppose, is what I like to spin. But they are all artists that appear at the Folk Canada conference every year. Nice. So I think I'm legit in that sense. But it's wonderful. And just being here tonight has been so fun, meeting all these people. Everyone feels like they're part of a big family. And I think that is really the most beautiful thing about CKCU.
100%.
Lance, off to you.
100%. My beginnings at CKCU was actually kind of accidental. First year of university, 1986, and my friend Tino says to me, "Hey, there's a radio station here. Let's go check it out." And I'm like, "What? A radio station? What do they do there?" And he dragged me up here, and I had actually initially a hard time getting to the music department, which was what I was originally interested in doing. But I was shanghaied by the public affairs director at the time, Angela Prokopiak, and she immediately got me doing editing of tapes. That's how she trained me initially, getting me to edit interviews that she had collected. And then all of a sudden I'm interviewing authors, and all of a sudden I'm doing Radio Free Opiango, which was a public affairs show at the time. I know we're supposed to be talking about music. Anyway, my point is that my introduction to CKCU was more on the public affairs side. And then I eventually managed to get into closed circuit. And for those of you who are not aware, CKCU has a very extensive training program where they take you into a separate studio, teach you how to put together a whole music program. I learned that you have to listen to the beginning of a song and at the end of a song, because in the end, they've got to somehow fit together. And that was super, super important, I feel, in terms of getting me to where I eventually became involved in DJing and so on and so on.
You know, we had a Zoom meeting to plan this very broadcast a few days ago, and a couple of the people in it went into a long conversation between themselves about the ideal mix between two songs that one of them had just heard, and they talked about it in detail. That's part of CKCU's good radio, is the right mix between two pieces of music.
It's a big part of the training, and it certainly makes for great radio when songs speak to each other, ideas within the music speak to each other, and you build and build and build. And that can work in terms of content, in terms of music format, but also just in terms of the ideas in the music. It can be a fun thing. For those of you who are listening and want to get involved in radio, I 100% would like to encourage you to come up to the station and speak to the folks here about getting involved, because it's a great place to be. It's a great place to learn. It's a great way to be introduced to music, art, and culture.
Roland, do you want to jump in?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm Roland Kushner, and I was on the air on CKCU from 1977 until 1980, and I can tell you the last day I was here was September 23rd, 1980. It was a Saturday.
Okay.
It was, and my time on the air was from 10 a.m. on Saturday morning until noon. Anybody else know anything about that time slot?
Yes.
So I had a show called The Arkansas Traveler, and it had lots of American and Canadian folk music show. And in the last year that I was on the air, I was also doing the programming for Roosters, and we had a Live from Roosters show that I hosted where I'd interview the performer, and then we'd have one of their sets. Had lots of live performers here in this studio who were part of it. But it was a really nice mix of folk music. So that was me. But since I'm here from that era, I can tell you that it was a fantastic environment for new music. So this is the 1970s, and disco was big, and CKCU was not especially oriented to disco, as you can understand. Obviously, I played folk, but there was so much else. There was so much jazz. John Tackerberry, I see him. He had Black and Blue even then, and I remember Ron Sweetman's show and so many others in a mellow tone. But what I remember a lot about the late 1970s was the new wave and punk, and how they just exploded here in these rooms. The station put on a group called the Vibrators down in Oliver's, which was and Richard Hell and they were all getting lots of airplay on that. Right. I didn't care for it, but it was good radio. It was great radio, and people were enjoying it, and it was innovative. It was experimental. It was breaking barriers.
Right.
All the best things that radio could do were happening here. And then, my circumstances changed. I met a wonderful woman and moved to her hometown and gave up Ottawa and radio, but I still love CKCU.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a phone call every October from John Tackerberry, and I make a pledge to the funding drive every year. I want to see CKCU sustain. So if you're out there listening at 1 in the morning, what the heck's the matter with you, for one thing? But when the next time CKCU asks for money, which is going to be in about 2 minutes, please give.
Yeah, so the funding drive is technically over, but it's not too.
On.
It's never too late to donate. You're absolutely right, Roland, and we need the support of our community.
And until we make that lofty goal, I think we're going to continue asking for donations. I think we're up to about $176,000, which is absolutely amazing.
It is,
but we're really trying to get the $193,100, just because it's a good number.
Well,
it's a good number.
It is a good number,
and it's because that's what the station needs to keep operating.
Yes.
So when I left Ottawa and went to Pennsylvania, one of the things I had to do, it turned out, was run a radio station, a public radio station for several months, not for a very long time. But the funding drive is just a core thing. You can't have the radio without the money being spent to keep it on the air.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening, it's not just a nice thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
not just a bunch of people spinning records, although that is a really fun part of it. Yeah.
It is a fun
Lance,
part.
I was going to ask you, so your experience at KCU that you just described, is that what got you into DJing then?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, as some of you might know, after leaving CKCU, I went on to do, a variety of community-oriented things, one of which was starting the Mercury Lounge with a bunch of friends. I was part of that collective. And some of you might be familiar with the Mercury Lounge. Yes. It was around for many years. Mm-hmm. And it was more of a I would say salon than a club. We did a variety of things there: plays, poetry, lots of live music, DJ'd music.
I saw some good drag shows there too.
Good drag shows, mm-hmm. Exactly. So definitely the ethos around here being collective art and culture. Same thing happened in Mercury Lounge, and that definitely came from my experience here.
So when are you coming back to do a show here on CKCU?
Yes, Lance. We all want to know.
I would love to spend some time putting together a wonderful show that goes from Zydeco to funk and everything in between, whether it be Balkan klezmer or music is the spice of life, the variety, and if you can put together a show where you can hit a whole bunch of different cultures and then come back again, that's the best show that you can do in my world. So I would love to come and do a show like that. I don't know when it'll be.
It's approved.
But it'll be soon.
Sold.
It'll be soon.
So talking about the variety of music that, CKCU highlights, and it has highlighted in the last 50 years, is that something that you guys kept in mind while preparing for your programs when you were active here at CKCU? Because as we all know, in mainstream radio, we hear all of the same stuff, and it's certain kind of genres of music are preferred, and they have to reach their quotas, etc. Right. So what are your thoughts about kind of the importance of community radio when it comes to picking out music?
That's the DNA, variety.
But it's a variety of genres.
Yeah,
correct.
So individual shows, they should have some concentration, maybe not specialization, but there should be something thematically that links them. Not that there's anything wrong with doing anything different, but then you don't know what you're getting at all, and it's so much more the personality of the programmer rather than something that's joining the pieces of music together. So it's better, for genre or an artistic discipline or songs about something.
There's got to be a common thread, to bring it together for sure. And I mean, certainly in the world. It's all about specialization, but really a place like CKCU where it's about being organic, where it's about being eclectic, then the task is to bring those variety of things together and have them be the same thing. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I find that we have, many of our hosts have been hosting their own programs for many, many years, and they are absolute experts in their own field.
I think that's really important. The expertise and the knowledge that people have built up. We talked about it in a mellow tone. Ron was encyclopedic,
very much so,
in his knowledge, and I know
very
that John Tackerberry, just people from my era who I know have who continued to broadcast for a long time. But I think listeners want to know that they don't want to just hear the song; they want to hear what the connection is and what the story is.
Exactly,
it's this artist who's related to that, and did you know that he was the drummer on this, and she was the vocalist, etc. So
we're learning all the time as listeners. There's always something to learn about.
As long as you can make it good radio by keeping it
100%.
enchanting and interesting.
100%. I mean, you speak about Wednesday evenings. John Tackerberry to Ron and then Ron Steeds later on doing more of an avant-garde version of jazz. And then I like the way it flows on Wednesdays. And then there are some days where one show is completely different from the next. The variety is really, again, what we're going to come back to. And I think people really appreciate that. And it shows because people donate every year. And the folks like yourselves that are listening right now, you donate every year. And it's because you're enjoying what you're hearing.
Is Saturday morning a good time in the funding drive?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
It was before. It is in other towns as well. Saturday morning is a folk music time for other radio stations like this, and folk music listeners are generous.
True.
Yeah.
I live on Manitoulin Island now, and on Sundays, guess what I listen to?
Canadian folk.
Canadian folk. Yes, indeed. I tune into CKCU. I have Canadian Spaces playing in the background at the place that I work, and it's amazing. People come in and they enjoy it.
I occasionally tune into Canadian Spaces from Pennsylvania on Saturday morning.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. You see, this is why I need to mind my P's and Q's when I'm on the air. Because sometimes I think I'm sitting alone in the studio just talking to myself, but it's like, no, people are listening.
People are listening, Anne-Marie.
Very much
Absolutely. And so, as I mentioned earlier, I'm more, I guess, not a long-time volunteer. I just hit 11 years, which is...
That's a long time.
It's a long time. Well, compared to a lot of people, it's
a long time. You should be proud of yourself.
Well, I am. And the program that I host has a focus on local music. And, I like to play music of all genres, which is really fun. And I play music like types of genres that I don't usually listen to. However, there is a link to Ottawa or Gatineau. And again, we're community radio, and some of our programs should reflect our community. And, as someone who loves live music and who's a supporter of the live music here in Ottawa, Gatineau, I just think it's important to highlight the amazing talent in our community.
And I think what I like about your show, Julie, is that you play that really heavy metal song at 5:45, right?
Yep.
And that's good, so people know there's a pattern.
Yeah.
So people listen and they know, and they know there's a big song coming on at 1:45, and
so they know to either brace themselves or change the channel, perhaps. But so that's true, Anne-Marie. My show does have a 5:45 metal segment because, again, you don't hear a lot of heavy metal, especially not in mainstream radio.
Correct.
And also, we have at least one French song per episode, 'cause it's really important to represent the Francophone community here in Ottawa-Gatineau. And
there's I teach at a place called Muhlenberg College, and it has a college radio station that is very much like CKCU in terms of its spirit. They have a fabulous slogan for the station.
It's stripping down.
Yes, I am. The only station that matters.
I love it.
So, if CKCU had come up with that earlier, we would have used it too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, they have a Wednesday morning, they have an 8:30 rush.
Ooh.
Just letting you know.
8:30.
We play Rush at 8:30 on Wednesday
Very
morning.
nice.
Wow.
Yes.
That's
there
brilliant.
you go. There you go. An 8:30 Rush. So,
Awesome.
yeah. You can cop that. Nobody's going to be listening to both stations at the same time.
Do you have any questions, Chris, for our...
I'm just saying, Julie, isn't it nice to hear all of these conversations?
Oh, my
that we've
gosh.
heard
I'm having the
last
best
couple of
time.
hours?
I'm not even tired. I'm
That's
just
it. Well, there's
so
much
wired and
energy here.
energized.
It's the birthday cake.
I haven't had a piece of cake yet, Anne-Marie. I've been busy.
Delicious, and it's going fast.
You have been busy, Julie, and we're going to ask you to actually go over to the other side of the glass and play a song, because you're also a musician.
I am. I did not bring my instrument, so we're going to play a recorded version
that's what we're
of
gonna
one of
do.
my songs, if that's okay with you, Chris.
Yeah.
But before we do that, again, as I said, I'm a newer volunteer, and I'm just wondering if you guys have any advice or any words of wisdom you want to share with me and maybe just some newer volunteers.
Have fun, do good radio.
Good,
It's
yeah.
sweet and simple. Yeah, I mean that's it. Once you're in here, you'll never want to leave it. There's so much to learn. There's so much to do. I was at the University of Ottawa community radio station for almost 18 years or something like that, doing a show, and then I crossed the border and came to CKCU, it's good. Advice is come and learn and become part of the family and just hang out. There's all kinds of things to do. You don't have to be on the air. There's lots of other stuff to do behind the scenes.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions, and like in any volunteer setting, ask what you can do to help.
Yeah, that's some good advice, for sure.
All right, let's thank our panelists. That's Anne-Marie Brugger, Lance Baptiste, Roland Kushner.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you guys for coming and celebrating, CKCU's 50th. No big deal. Only 50 years.
Yeah,
Been on my calendar for a long time.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Years ago.
And it continues tomorrow night.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. More festivities. That's
Thanks,
true.
Chris.
Thanks,
okay,
Julie.
all
Thanks,
the best.
you guys.
Yeah, and Julie, did you find some music? Or are we going to be able to hear from you? I know you sing in both official languages.
I do. So the last song I released was actually in French, my first French song, finally. It's weird because French is my first language, but I find it easier to write songs in English.
That is interesting.
Yeah, isn't it?
But two different languages, they sound different, obviously.
They
but
do
I mean,
sound
they're
different.
Phrased differently.
Yeah, and I grew up in New Brunswick, and so I'm Acadian, and so it's almost like my brain is bilingual, and sometimes I'll just switch from French to English, in any thought process.
They call that franglais.
Franglais or chiac or,
okay.
There's a lot of different terms. So, Chris, if you're okay with it, I would love to play my French song.
Absolutely. This will be the first French song played on CKCU in the start of the second 50 years.
Amazing.
The second half century.
Amazing. Okay, you guys, you're about to hear La Tempête. I guess my artist name is Julie Stella. So if you go to Bandcamp and you search Julie Stella, you'll be able to check it out. This is La Tempête on CKCU 93.1 FM.
Le vent, les nuages, la tempête nous envahit. On cherche un sauveur, mais finalement c'est qui?
vie. L'avenir est incertain, mais c'est certain qu'il disparaîtra un jour. L'avenir est incertain, mais c'est certain que bientôt sera ton tour. Plus tard, attends pas plus tard, il sera peut-être trop tard. On ne sait pas ce qui arrivera. Ces vagues immenses sur la vague nous submerger. Notre espoir pour demain ne fait que s'envoler. Tout ça parce qu'on a peur de la vérité. L'avenir est incertain, mais c'est certain qu'il disparaîtra un jour. L'avenir est incertain, mais c'est certain que bientôt sera ton tour. Plus tard, attends pas plus tard, il sera peut-être trop tard. On ne sait pas ce qui arrivera plus tard. Attends pas plus tard, il sera peut-être trop tard. On ne sait pas ce qui arrivera, car l'avenir est incertain, mais c'est certain qu'il disparaîtra un jour. L'avenir est incertain, mais c'est certain que bientôt sera ton tour, car on ne sait pas ce qui arrivera plus tard.
Beautiful song there from you.
From me.
Julie Cormier, your stage name, your performance name, Julie
Stella. That's right. You know, Chris, I don't usually play my music on the air. That's one thing I don't do.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, I know.
It is awkward. And you know what? It's funny because despite doing, live radio at CKCU for over 10 years, I find it so challenging to listen back to episodes, even though my show plays really good local music. I find it always a little cringy and a little awkward to listen to myself after the fact.
Well, I'm glad you made an exception for tonight or this morning, whatever
well,
this is.
Well, thank you for that.
Because that was a beautiful song indeed.
Thanks. And what time is it? 1:15 a.m. on November 15th.
CKCU FM 93.1 FM day in Ottawa.
I love it. I love it. What a special day it is.
Okay, so what I was thinking we would do, and we want to do this, is that we want to acknowledge the people that can't be here, people that have passed away, and we refer to them as fallen volunteers.
Yeah.
There's, as I mentioned before, there is a history book of CKCU that's in the works. That's 150 pages, hardcover, 12 by 12 inch, beautiful book. And in that book, there is a section on fallen volunteers, divided into two categories. Ones that were actively doing shows and volunteering at the point when they passed away.
Okay.
So, they were still current volunteers. And then another, actually longer list of people that had been volunteers here before.
Yeah.
And then eventually have passed away. As you might imagine, the station's been here for 50 years.
50 years.
So it's not particularly surprising. So here's a bit of October Brown music that we can play. I think we can play.
Hopefully we can play.
Yeah.
It's live radio. Live radio, you never know what to expect.
Acknowledge some of these, the list that we have. I'm sure we're missing some people, no doubt. But we'll just read out these names and we'll observe the contributions that these people have made as we're hearing so many wonderful people did wonderful things. Look at that. Someone's calling in to congratulate us. So we'll just do this, and we'll just now read out those names, hopefully with a bit of background music from October Brown here in the background. So I'll read, Julie, I'll read out the names, and then maybe we'll kind of take turns reading out the names of those who have volunteered but are no longer with us. But these were the people that were actually active volunteers, and one was Bill Grant, who hosted the Back 40 in Roots and Branches, and was very key. There's actually the music library here is named after Bill Grant. There's a plaque there. Chopper McKinnon, we've been mentioning him a few times. He started Canadian Spaces in 1980, and he lives on for sure in that show, which is Canada's longest running folk roots music show. Fred Kayak, a technical engineer. His name is also revered around these parts. Jacques Aymon, Swing is in the Air, and also a key figure in the Ottawa Jazz Festival. Joseph Alphonse Andre worked on a show called Renaissance Haitian, and actually just passed away this year, unfortunately. Marc Valcourt, an unbelievably important person at CKCU, and also in the Carleton University Journalism Department, where he inspired and influenced many people. Mary McKinnon worked on the show called Heavy Friends. Paul Gisbert was involved in Trans FM, which was a fantastic music and arts publication that CKCU published for 17 years.
Wow.
Now we have Pratibha Sampat, who worked on An Indian Morning as one of the hosts of that show. Roberto Miranda Calderon with a show called Punta de Encuentro. And a couple more people, Ved Mohan, who worked on the Apki Farmais show and Asian Sounds. And Warren Blackwood, who is a very sad story, was a student here actually when he passed away, but worked on a show called Mad Crew and also Peaceful Journey. So yes, a big thank you and a tribute to those folks.
Yeah.
And Julie, let's read our other list now. These are people that left CKCU at a certain point, but then again, unfortunately, no longer with us.
Yeah, so, and that includes Alan White, Angel Curtis from Breakaway, Bernard Stepien from Rabble Without a Cause, Brian Eagle from Both Sides Now, as well as the Vinyl Hour, Caroline Oliver, Chuck Kyle from A Classic Afternoon, Craig
Mackey, whose name has been mentioned. It was mentioned by Patrick Nagle as being very influential and important in the history of CKCU, and he was the station manager when Funding Drive first came into effect.
Amazing.
Way back in 1977. We also have David Worry, David McGee, David Taylor, who was a revenue manager at CKCU and a show host, David Toogood, Dick Andrews, and Don Leahy, Rabble Without a Cause. And you have a few more names.
Yeah, so also Doug Torrance from Songs for You, Doug Waters, Ed Staples, Eric Van Duzen. We also have Greg Young-Ing, Guy Kushner, Hubert Dasley, James Abson, James Brummel from the Children's Half Hour, Jane Crozier from Literary Landscape.
And here's one here, Julie.
Yes.
Janice Lockwood.
Oh my gosh, I miss
such
Janice.
An important person, yes. And hosted a number of shows.
Yeah.
Was also the Funding Drive coordinator.
Yeah.
Was a board member, was the chair of the board, was very very impactful in actually rescuing CKCU.
Oh yeah.
From disaster at one point in the history of the organization.
Yes.
John Pitcher was a technical person here at the station. Jonathan Brown's worked on Artistic License. We heard about that show here this evening. Lloyd Stanford from Third World Players. Malcolm Bromley from a show called Sticks and Stems.
Mm-hmm.
We also have,
so we have Marin Kanagasapani-Fi. I butchered that. My apologies. From Tamil Alai. Also Marty Rugrock from No One Came, who also worked in production. We also have Nadine Gilino, who was a show host and also program director here.
Oh, yeah. People remember Nadine with great fondness.
Yeah.
She was a trendsetter and a trailblazer.
We also have Peter Leo, who was a news reporter. Rabbi Mordecai Berger from Sunday Shimsha.
Yes, and Rachel Harani, who was very important to me because when she was still a teenager, she volunteered for the Ottawa Folk Festival and was involved for a number of years. And was the host of Wednesday Special Blend. Actually, she's the person that conscripted Tick to be a host of Wednesday Special Blend with her. And he's now done over 1,000 episodes.
Amazing.
So, yes, we give great thanks to Rachel Harani. Also Rob Stewart, who had a show called British Airwaves.
Yeah, nice. We also have Ron Sweetman from In a Mellow Tone. We also talked about that program quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Sharon Andrews from Artistic License. Sheldon Wilner,
who was involved in starting the first folk festival that CKCU, CUSA started actually, the Student Association, called Festival for the Folks. Sheldon Wilner was very involved in that. That ran for about 4 years, I believe. Okay. That was long before the CKCU Ottawa Folk Festival came into existence. And we have Stacy Greenman.
Also, we have Tony Koppel from Over My Head, as well as Window of Opportunity. Victor Hugh Dyke, who was a board member at CKCU, and Vincent St. Martin as well. So those are volunteers who are gone but not forgotten. And I think it's important to recognize the work of all of our volunteers and our staff in the last, 50 plus years, whether they're still with us, whether,
It was interesting earlier, just during this evening, with a lot of the former volunteers coming back and some of them getting on a bit. Yeah. And then there's some brand new volunteers, as you mentioned. Yeah. One, Becca, is brand new as of today. And I was looking at these longer term volunteers, and they were talking to the younger volunteers and saying, 50 years from now, you're going to be where we are, and somebody else is going to be where you are, and the whole thing is going to carry on.
And it's part of the beautiful cycle, right? Yeah. And I think that's what makes CKCU so special, is the people who are involved with CKCU care about community radio, and they care about this big, beautiful family that we have here at CKCU. And it's been such a pleasure to be live in the CKCU studio during this really important milestone that we've hit today. And what a treat.
Well, we're going to wrap things up here.
Yeah, we have like three minutes left on the air.
We had a plan, and actually things went surprisingly well, considering we were interrupted by a fire alarm.
Listen, it's expect the unexpected when it's live radio.
Yeah, and we heard that message from Patrick Nagle. He was saying what you learn, one of the things you learn is, yes, have a plan, and also be ready to go with the flow.
Yeah, and that's what we did this evening. But how fun was this?
It was.
I'm so happy I decided to stay out past my bedtime to co-host with all these amazing people today.
Thank you very much, Julie Cormier, for doing that. I am Chris White, and on behalf of everybody that has participated tonight and for over 50 years now.
50 years!
Hooray! And we're just going to play a few more of the messages that came in from those volunteers that wanted to send their greetings and good wishes. And then we'll carry on with more excellent programming here on CKCU for at least another 50 years.
For at least another 50 years, and November 15th, CKCU 93.1 FM Day.
Yes,
here in the city of Ottawa.
Officially. Long live CKCU.
Greetings from Northern Ireland. This is Anthony Toner, a singer-songwriter based in Belfast with some much-loved Canadian connections. I'm sending congratulations and best wishes to everyone at CKCU for this very special anniversary. The Canadian Spaces programme welcomed me for live sessions on a number of Saturday mornings when I was playing shows at the Black Sheep up in Wakefield. It really helped me to build an audience for those shows and make some useful connections in the area. More importantly, it was a joy to be part of those shows, and I have very fond memories of being there. So happy anniversary to everyone at CKCU, and here's to the next 50 years.
Hi, this is Al Wood from Al Wood and the Woodsman. Congratulations, CKCU, on 50 years of excellent community building, promotion of music, and just great work in the community. Keep it up. Thanks.
Happy 50th birthday, CKCU. This is Kate Greenland here, and I just wanted to thank all the volunteers, staff, and hosts for providing our community with such great programming and for sharing the music of so many independent artists like myself. And a big thank you to all the folks out there who continue to fund CKCU and help keep it going. Happy birthday!
Hi, this is Allison Lupton, and I would like to congratulate CKCU on turning 50. That's 50 years of amazing programs that is only possible because of listener support from people like you. Congratulations!
This is Bruce Murdoch here. I'm calling to wish CKCU a happy 50th. Along me, your Lumric. Take care. Thank you.
Hi, folks. Rachel Broussolet here. Happy half century to CKCU. Wow. Thanks for being so amazing. All the best.
Paul Weber here, congratulating CKCU on turning 50 years old and encouraging everyone to continue supporting this essential station.
Linda Morrison here from Montreal. Happy anniversary, CKCU. This is radio that deserves everyone's support, so please donate.
Singer-songwriter Alison Brown here, congratulating CKCU 93.1 FM for 50 years of bringing great independent music to the airwaves. Supporting campus and community radio helped share great music from artists of all genres. Cheers to 50 years of CKCU.
Hey folks, Graham Lindsay here, Celtic and folk musician, and I'm proud to be with the Canadian Folk Music Awards. Congratulations to CKCU FM on your 50th anniversary. And to all listeners and supporters, don't forget, we need to continue our support. It's needed now more than ever. Thanks so much, CKCU, for supporting musicians and the music across the country and beyond.
Hello, CKCU. Wow, 50 years. Isn't that wonderful? My name is Susan Sweeney Herman. I'm the president of the Spirit of Rasputin's Art Society in Ottawa. On behalf of the board, I want to congratulate CKCU for the wonderful work you have done over these many years, keeping musicians and audiences connected in our community. Bravo! All the best and happy birthday.
Happy birthday, CKCU. Hip hip hooray, you're 50 now, and we love you. Community radio at its best for all these years. Let's raise a glass to all the staff and volunteers. Happy birthday, CKCU.